Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to live in your mind long after they've left your life? You continue with your days, meet new faces, experience new moments, and yet, in the quiet hours, their memory returns, uninvited, not as a thought you consciously summon, but as a whisper from a deeper place. Carl Jung believed that when a person stays in our thoughts, it's rarely by accident. The unconscious mind, unlike the logical mind, clings to what holds emotional gravity. It gathers what remains unresolved, what is unfinished, what demands recognition, even if consciously we think we have moved on. Some individuals are not just part of our memories, they are part of our inner architecture. Their lingering presence signals a deeper psychic link, something our conscious self may struggle to name, but our unconscious cannot ignore. According to Jung, the human mind is not a sealed fortress, but a living, breathing landscape shaped by experiences, emotions, and inherited patterns. When someone continually appears in your thoughts, it is often because a part of you is still entangled with them at a level beyond reason. It may not be about missing them, it may be about unfinished meaning, something that your mind is still trying to complete. And in Jung's view, we must listen. Because the mind does not cling to what is meaningless, it clings to what demands healing, understanding, or integration. But the story goes deeper. The unconscious doesn't just replay memories like an old film projector, it holds onto emotional imprints that defy the passing of time. A glance, a word, a moment of deep connection, they can live on within you, timeless and undiminished. The mind works not by chronology, but by emotional intensity. An unresolved emotion stays alive, untouched by the clock, waiting quietly beneath the surface. Have you ever caught a scent, heard a song, or stumbled upon an old photo, and felt the rush of emotion so vivid it blurred the line between past and present? That's because emotional experiences are not stored as simple events. They are encoded in clusters, a memory intertwined with a feeling, a face, a longing, and when that emotional thread is still active, the mind continues to weave it into your present, again and again. But why? Why does the mind insist on holding on when we wish it would let go? Because sometimes it's not about the person at all, it's about what they represent within your own psyche. Jung taught that the unconscious communicates through symbols and archetypes. Sometimes the people who occupy our thoughts are not themselves, but the symbol of a lesson we must learn, a wound we must heal, or a part of ourselves we must reclaim. They are mirrors, reflections of aspects hidden deep within. Maybe that person embodies a part of yourself you've denied, a passion suppressed, a strength forgotten, a vulnerability unacknowledged. Or maybe they personify a shadow you have yet to confront, a regret, a fear, a need you wished you never had. In Jungian psychology, nothing is random. Every fixation, every emotional tether points to something meaningful. The question is not, why can't I stop thinking about them? The real question is, what part of myself are they awakening? Now let's go even deeper. Sometimes the person who lingers in your mind is not someone you loved or hated. They are someone you projected a part of yourself onto, unknowingly. Have you ever felt an instant connection to someone, as if they completed you? Or an instant aversion, as if they threatened something deep inside you? These intense reactions often have little to do with who the other person truly is. They have everything to do with what they mirror within you. Jung described this process as projection, the unconscious act of attributing our own hidden traits, emotions, or wounds onto others. You may see courage in someone because you have yet to claim your own. You may despise arrogance in another because you fear it in yourself. The unconscious seeks wholeness, and it does so by externalizing the parts we refuse to accept internally. When someone haunts your mind, they might simply be a canvas onto which your inner world is painted, a symbol of a potential you haven't yet realized, or a shadow you haven't yet embraced. The tragedy, and the opportunity, lies in how often we mistake the symbol for the person. We chase them, blame them, romanticize or resent them, when all along the encounter was meant to lead us inward, to find in ourselves what we thought existed only outside of us. When you think about that person who lingers in your mind, ask yourself, what emotion do they awaken? What part of me do they reflect? What lesson am I being invited to learn? Because the truth is, they are not the destination. They are a signpost pointing toward yourself. But there's another layer still, the emotional energy that refuses to dissipate. Some connections are not built from logic or even conscious choice. They are built from profound emotional energy, bonds that wrap themselves into the fibers of your being. And emotional energy, once created, does not simply vanish. It seeks completion. It yearns for resolution. Until that happens, it continues to pulse beneath the surface, like an unfinished symphony, echoing in an empty hall. Neuroscience confirms what ancient wisdom already knew. The brain forms powerful neural pathways through emotional experiences. When someone leaves a deep emotional imprint, the pathways remain, even if the relationship ends, even if years pass, even if you tell yourself you have moved on. That's why a fleeting memory can trigger a storm of emotion. That's why healing cannot be rushed by reason alone. The unconscious demands not forgetting, but understanding, not repression, but integration. When an emotional bond is unresolved, it acts like psychic gravity, pulling you back to the unfinished story, not because you are weak, not because you are broken, but because you are human, and your mind is trying to complete what was left undone. Sometimes what you are searching for is not the other person. It is a part of yourself that you lost in loving them, a part of yourself you abandoned in resenting them, a part of yourself that needs to be reclaimed. Carl Jung taught that healing does not come from cutting off these emotional ties. It comes from illuminating them, understanding what they meant, reclaiming what was projected onto them, and finally, integrating that lost piece back into your own soul. The people who stay in your mind, they are not curses, they are invitations, they are messengers from your unconscious, whispering there is still something here for you to see. When you stop running from these echoes, when you turn toward them with curiosity and compassion, something profound happens. You stop seeking closure from the outside world, you begin to find it within yourself. You realize that the mind is not your enemy, it is your guide, leading you again and again toward the wholeness that you were always meant to claim. But there's an even more profound truth waiting just beneath this realization. When someone stays in your mind, it isn't always because of the emotions they caused. Sometimes it's because of the emotions you discovered within yourself through them. They were the catalyst, but the fire was always yours. Maybe they awakened a tenderness you never knew you could feel. Or perhaps they brought forth a rage, a jealousy, a fear you thought yourself immune to. And now, those emotions remain, alive, electric, long after the person is gone. This is why forgetting isn't the goal. Integration is, because these emotions are not foreign invaders. They are parts of your own being that were waiting to be acknowledged. The person you remember, they merely opened the door. It is you who must now step inside. In truth, the ones we cannot forget are not interruptions to our journey. They are the journey. They are the milestones of our becoming, markers of the places where we grew, faltered, awakened. Their memory persists not to punish us, but to remind us, this was real, you were alive here, learn from it. And in this way, no connection is wasted, no heartbreak, no betrayal, no lingering memory is without meaning. Each one is a thread in the tapestry of your becoming, woven not despite your pain but because of it. The myth of moving on. Modern culture loves to preach the mythology of moving on, forget, erase, replace, distract yourself until the ache is gone. But true healing, real psychological growth, asks something much harder. Not moving on, but moving through. To sit with the memories, to listen to the emotions, to welcome the parts of yourself that surface, even when they hurt. Because pain is not proof that you are broken. Pain is proof that you are still feeling, still alive, still open to transformation. When you allow yourself to move through, not around, the lingering presence of another, something magical happens. You no longer need them to be different. You no longer need closure from them. because you begin to find closure within yourself. You realize the goal was never to erase them. The goal was to integrate the part of yourself that they awakened, and when you do, they no longer haunt you. They become a part of your story, not a wound, but a chapter, a testament to who you were and who you are still becoming. The sacred role of memory in many spiritual traditions. Memory is considered sacred, not something to escape, but something to honor. Memory, when understood properly, is not a prison, it is a map. It points to the places inside you that are still tender, still unfinished, still rich with possibility. In Jungian thought, forgetting is not growth, forgetting is avoidance. Real growth comes from remembering deeply, and then learning how to carry those memories differently, not as burdens but as teachers. Memory is the soil in which wisdom grows. When you treat it with reverence, even your most painful memories become alchemy, turning old wounds into new understanding. Thus the question shifts from how do I forget to how do I transform, turning toward the inner work. If you feel the echo of someone long gone, if their name still sends a tremor through your heart, it is not a sign of weakness, it is a summons, a call to do the inner work you might have delayed. Jung often spoke of individuation, the process of becoming your fullest, most whole self. This path is not paved with avoidance, it is carved through confrontation, reflection and integration. You are being invited to reclaim something, a lost piece of your courage, a forgotten tenderness, a hidden strength. Ask yourself, what did this person awaken that I now need to awaken within myself? What part of me did I try to find in them that I must now nurture from within? What wound did our connection expose that I am now called to heal? The mind, left alone, will replay memories endlessly, but the soul, when honored, can transform memories into meaning, and meaning, not forgetting, is the true path to peace, the quiet power of acceptance. There is a serenity that comes when you stop trying to wrestle your memories into submission, when you let go of the need for tidy endings, when you realize that some stories are not meant to conclude with neat resolutions. Some stories remain open-ended, some emotions remain raw, some people will always occupy a corner of your heart, not because you failed to heal, but because they helped shape you into who you are. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning pain, it means recognizing the sacredness of your own journey. It means bowing to the mystery of how lives intersect, wound, heal, and transform each other. It means allowing yourself to feel love, anger, longing, sorrow, without shame. It means standing in the full light of your humanity, unafraid, and it is in that space, that raw, honest space, that true freedom is born. Final reflection. The people who stay in your mind are not random visitors, they are invitations. Each memory is a doorway, each lingering emotion is a guide. They lead you, not back to the past, but deeper into yourself. The question is not, why can't I forget them? The question is, what truth about myself are they still trying to reveal? Because healing isn't forgetting, healing is remembering, fully, honestly, tenderly, and letting those memories carve new wisdom into your soul. You are not haunted, you are being called, and the call is this: come home to yourself. Memory as a living force. In truth, memory is not static, it is alive, evolving, breathing with you. Each time you revisit it, you are not returning to a frozen past, you are engaging in a new encounter with yourself. This is why some memories feel heavier with time, while others seem to lose their sting, because you are not the same person you were when they were first formed. You are growing, changing, shedding old skins. When a person lingers in your thoughts, it is not simply their story pulling at you, it is your story, the ever-changing narrative of who you are, who you were, and who you are becoming. Thus, every memory offers two choices: to anchor yourself to what was, or to use it as a current to carry you deeper into who you are meant to be. The seduction of nostalgia, but beware, memory has a shadow side too. There is a temptation to idolize the past, to soften its edges, to romanticize its hurts, to believe that something lost was somehow more perfect than what could ever be gained. This is nostalgia's dangerous whisper. If only I could go back, I would be whole again. Yet philosophy teaches us, especially thinkers like Kierkegaard and Nietzsche, that existence moves forward, not backward. Life demands that we respond to the future, not cling to the past. The memory of someone may stir nostalgia within you, but remember, you are not called to relive what was. You are called to carry its wisdom into what will be. The past is a teacher, not a home. Pain as initiation. There's another layer, a deeper secret that few dare to explore. The lingering pain you feel is not random, it is initiation. In many ancient cultures, rites of passage required suffering. One had to be broken open to enter a deeper wisdom, a greater maturity. So too with the heart. The ache you carry is not meaningless. It is preparing you for a fuller experience of life, a deeper knowing of love. Pain, when faced bravely, refines the soul. It strips away illusions. It humbles the ego. It awakens empathy. It reveals strength where you thought there was only fragility. Thus the ones you cannot forget, the ones who cracked your heart open, were not obstacles. They were sacred guides, initiators into a more authentic existence. The fear beneath the memory. Sometimes what keeps someone alive in your mind is not love, not anger, not even grief. Sometimes it is fear. Fear that letting go would mean losing a part of yourself. Fear that moving forward would require becoming someone new, someone you do not yet know how to be. We often confuse remembering with loyalty. We cling to pain, thinking it honors what we lost. But true loyalty to your journey is not staying wounded, it is becoming whole. Ask yourself gently, am I holding on because I love them, or because I am afraid of who I must become without them? There is no shame in fear, only in refusing to face it. And when you do, when you dare to step through that fear, you do not lose the memory. You simply carry it differently. You allow it to empower, not imprison. Reclaiming your story. Every memory you carry is a thread in the tapestry of your life, but you are the weaver. You decide how the story is told. You decide whether it ends in bitterness or blooms into wisdom. You decide whether you are a victim of the past or the author of your future. Reclaiming your story does not mean denying what happened. It means choosing what meaning it will hold for you. Will the memory of loss teach you to close your heart, or will it teach you to love more fiercely, knowing how fragile it all is? Will the memory of betrayal make you bitter, or will it sharpen your discernment without hardening your soul? Will the memory of abandonment make you feel unworthy, or will it remind you that your worth was never dependent on someone else's ability to see it? You get to choose, and in that choice, you reclaim your power. The souls we meet along the way. Perhaps in some grander design we are meant to meet certain souls, not because they will stay forever, but because they will awaken something essential within us, a truth, a wound that must heal, a capacity for love we never knew we had, a calling we would not have heard otherwise. In this view, the people you cannot forget are not mistakes, they are sacred appointments, encounters scripted, not by chance, but by the deeper currents of your becoming. They leave not because they failed you, they leave because their role in your story was complete. And so, rather than mourning what was lost, you can begin to honor what was given, the growth, the awakening, the necessary disruption. You can bow in gratitude, not because the pain was small, but because you were made greater through it. Closing reflection. If someone still lingers in your mind, if their voice echoes through your memories, if their absence feels like a presence, know this: it is not a sign that you are broken. It is not a sign that you are stuck. It is a sign that you are alive, capable of deep feeling, capable of true reflection, capable of growth that transcends simple forgetting. Healing is not the art of erasing. Healing is the art of weaving, taking every thread, joy, pain, memory, longing, and creating something beautiful, something whole, something profoundly human. You do not need to forget them. You need to become the person that their memory is calling you to be. And perhaps, in the quiet moments, you will smile, not because you are free of the past, but because you have carried it well. Not because you have forgotten, but because you have finally fully become yourself. Thank you for walking this path of reflection with me today. If this journey stirred something within you, a memory, a question, a quiet longing, know that it was not by accident. Every thought you nurture, Every emotion you face shapes the soul you are becoming. If you found meaning here, I invite you to stay a while, to explore deeper, to grow wiser together. Until next time, keep weaving your story with courage, with honesty, and above all, with heart.